What's up, everybody? So this is gonna be the first of many just like how-to videos. I think I'll end up labeling this a engine build series. My engine experience goes back probably close to 20 years now. I've worked in a variety of different places building engines for different companies. Everything from NASCAR stuff to Pro Mod to Top Fuel, and a ton of street car stuff in between. 4-cylinder V8, you name it. So this video in particular is going to be about deburring blocks. I'm going to talk about the tools. You're going to see a time lapse of me deburring a F20C S2000 engine that we put a K24 stroker crank in. And then I'll go back into talking about, after that time lapse, I'll go back into talking about the block and some of the stuff that I did. These videos are older, so it's going to kind of be a weird tie together, but I hope you enjoy it and I hope you learn a bunch. Thank you. So I just want to talk about the tools that I use to deburr a block, okay? So real quick, what we got going on here is we got a die grinder, okay? Long extension sanding drum. This guy here will reach down into the bore and get the bottom of the bore, get those hard to reach spots. Air grinder. This disc right here, you got to be careful with it. It will take material, but if you're gentle, it works great for anything that has gasket material, sealing surfaces, even the surface where the transmission goes. Ultraflex 150 grit. You can use 180 grit. On certain iron bores, you can even use 120 grit. You can get away with it. But I like this 150 Superflex or Ultraflex. And this works great for cleaning up the edge of the bore right here. Real gentle. Very little taper, just enough to get those rings in there safely. Grinder, okay? I use a cordless Dremel. You can use an air one, 1/8 inch, small, double cut, okay? You don't want to use a pointed or a flat tip. You want to use something that won't grab, and then if it gets away from you, it's less likely to damage something. A real pointy tip or a flat edge on top is much more likely to damage something. So I use an oval, double cut, very smooth. Drill. 6 cutting teeth, 5 cutting teeth you can get away with, even 7 cutting teeth is good as well. Low speed. This is going to taper all the bolt holes very cleanly. Hand carbides, what they call a little rat tail, and then a triangle one, a triangle burr. These are right here for spots that you got to get in and do by hand. Any fine detail spots, microfiles. Okay, so that's the arrangement of tools that I use to deburr a block. That right there will get you set and squared away. You can get away with using some, only using a couple of those, and you can probably deburr a whole block fine. This is what I use. It works great. It'll make that whole block nice and smooth, no sharp edges, no slag falling off into the block, into your oil pan, getting picked up by your pickup, or getting caught in the rotating assembly. You want to clean everything as much as you can. I'll go through as I'm doing it and make more videos too, and point out spots that have been problematic or that I notice things, all right? Enjoy.
Have I become a little too shy for love? I've been hurt before. All's fair in love and war. So I snuggle up close to the shell I'm living in. And if I let you in, another round begins. No, I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side.
got me floating here, a feather in the air. Oh, but when the wind blows, will I tumble or sail away? Or would you have me stay? And what if I escape? I know
I'm spinning in a vicious cycle. I'm scared of doing something I'll regret. Maybe this is right, but I'm still staring at your silhouette. But what if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side, by your side. I'm not afraid. We found something that'll never fade. We can be ourselves and figure out the rest along the way. What if you're everything I need? A fire in my heart, the air I breathe. What if I'm incomplete without you by my side? What if I go against my heart instead of confessing from the start? What if I miss out on the life meant for us? I need you by my side. I need you by my side.
All right, here we are again. So I got the block all deburred. The last video would have been a time lapse, me deburring the block. What you'll see is me spending a ton of time on the underside of those cylinders. I mean, in the time lapse, probably doesn't seem like a ton of time, but it was probably a solid 30 minutes just on the bottom of those cylinders. This casting has a ton of issues where when it's casted, it makes these little flaky spots, right? And these spots right here can actually be like a layer of aluminum that can chip off. Now on the outside, obviously, it doesn't matter. But when there's a ton of that stuff on the inside, it does matter. Because heat cycles, expansion, contraction, harmonics from the engine, all that stuff, that shit can flip off, break, fall in the oil pan, fall in the rotating assembly. It can go half a dozen different places that you don't want it. It can stick to the side, the skirt of the piston, scrape your bore, trash rings, you name it. So, ton of work on the block. Let's just talk about some things that I did. So, on the top side of the block, I went over each corner, okay? Then I chamfered every circle I could. So, some oil galley passages and returns, all the bolt holes, stuff like that. Some spots I had to go in and get by hand. So these creases on the inside here, these little tight spots I had to go in and get by hand. But I deburred the whole thing. And one of the big reasons for this is when you're building an engine, oil, dirt, debris, stuff's gonna fall on it. You're gonna get stuff on this mating surface, okay? So you have to be able to clean it. If you have a bunch of sharp edges, it's gonna tear your towels up. It's gonna tear up whatever you're trying to clean that surface with. And that stuff is gonna get stuck and you're gonna be sitting there trying to fight it. So now I take my lint-free rag. Now, a lot of people aren't gonna just go out and buy lint-frees like this. This is pretty much a snag-free setup. It can still snag on surfaces, like down here, you know, on these block surfaces. It'll still grab and snag, but it won't leave lint behind. If you're using paper towel, I suggest Bounty. Coat it with some WD-40. If it's got to be a clean surface, obviously use brake clean. But lint-free towel, it can just go across this whole surface and not catch anything. So it's not catching or snagging like it would if this thing wasn't deburred. It makes cleaning everything super easy. So let's flip it over. Let's check out the bottom side. Now, you can see in here, this is where all that stuff was. Now, there's still a lot of material I got to clean out the final wash on the block, all that stuff will get cleaned out. But you can see where I went in and really got after this down in this area here. This area just had a ton of that casting stuff. And it's real similar to this spot right here, where you can see it. I might even go in and get this stuff still. This stuff right here could break off. If this is a flaky surface, you can actually see right here in this corner. Let's see, let's get you a different angle there. Right here in this corner, you can see where it flaked off once before. So sometimes you get in there with your nail and you can even flake off some more. So something like this, I'm gonna go in and get after. It's super hot out here, so I'm pretty much done for the night. And there was a ton of metal shavings on there that I just had to clean off before I could see the rest of it. Sometimes you gotta stop halfway between, clean it, re-examine what you're doing, and get after it again. Now, all the main bearings here, I don't know if you could tell in the time lapse, but these areas here, I just get by hand. You just wanna get it enough to where it's really not gonna snag anything again. No burrs hanging on the edges and stuff like that. Down here, again, your sealing surface, you got to clean this, right? You're going to be putting silicone here to seal that pan. Some vehicles use gaskets and stuff, so it's not necessarily as big of a deal, but this vehicle is going to be using some Honda Bond or some Loctite RTV that I like to use. So this surface right here, you don't want to catch anything, so I can run my towel across here and it's not going to build up a bunch of mess. I even went through and did all the timing chain casting area, the outside bolt patterns. I cleaned up the oil pump area. We are going to get a relocation kit for this, but that's basically your basic deburring. If you guys got any questions on these specifics on what I did here, just hit me up. Thank you guys for watching that. If you have any questions, please feel free to go onto my Instagram, slide into the DMs, ask me questions, comment below, like and subscribe. And stay tuned for the next video. Thanks, guys.